All right, so the next step after you have all the seams sewed is to press your piece. What is really important here is that you press it with some spray sizing, which is one of the reasons that I kind of fell in love with the Mary Ellen's Best Press. This Best Press doesn't leave any residue on the top of the piece or on your fabric. And when you're doing paper piecing, you're spraying it on the top of your design. So if you use the spray sizing that you get at the grocery store, it'll leave residue. Now that residue will wash off when the quilt is washed, but in the process there'll be that shiny residue, and I don't like that. So I like to use my Mary Ellen's Best Press, and I'm gonna, whoops, there we go. I'm gonna heavily spray it. So there's gonna be a lot of spray starch on there. I'm going to use my iron, and it's all the way to cotton, and I'm taking the steam off because I want the piece to actually dry as fast as possible. So with the steam off, I'm going to press it completely dry. To get it completely dry, you're going to have to press it from the front side, take it to the back side. You can see how wet it is. And back to the front side. So it'll take a little bit for this to dry. So through the magic of television, I have another one that's all completely dry. I'm going to take this now to my cutting surface. I'm going to trim it out. So this block is supposed to finish 4.5 inches. This is my sewing line. This is my cutting line. So I'm going to place my ruler so that it'll be on the 4.5 inch. It's kind of like I'm squaring it up, starting on the right, then the top. Now I'm going to turn the cut edge, and I'm going to put it right into the 4.5 inch measurement. And trim. Now that it's trim and looking beautiful, you can take off the paper. There's some out there that will tell you to leave the paper on until you have sewed your blocks together. Because you have done the spray sizing, there is no reason to leave the paper on. If you leave the paper on when you're doing your sewing, you'd be sewing through the sew line, which happens to be a scant 1/4 inch. You already know how to do a scant 1/4 inch. You don't need to sew on that line. You can sew with your scant 1/4 inch that you've measured on your machine. So we want to take the paper off. If I sew all that paper in, it's nigh on to impossible to get the paper off cleanly. When you're taking the paper off, you're going to pull it off in the reverse order that you put it on. So I'm going to start by taking the number 11 piece off. I'm going to fold it back, crease it, and when I take off the paper, I'm trying to pull out instead of up. If you pull up, you can actually stretch those threads out a little bit. So the next one is the number 10. I'm going to fold it back and try and pull out. And this is really cool. So this is the next one I need to pull off, this number 9. If I put my finger under here and just slightly give that a little bit of a tug, do you see how the paper came right out from underneath the stitching? So there's no paper residue left. That paper residue kind of drives me crazy. I've got a really clean tear. Here's number 8. Here's my last one coming out. All the paper is out. Not even a smidge of paper is left behind. And the front side looks beautiful. If you take the time to learn the steps for paper piecing, I promise you, you will love paper piecing. Traditionally speaking, when I'm teaching beginners, they start paper piecing and they're all a little afraid of it. They're thinking this is too confusing. I'm sewing backwards. I can't see what I'm doing. When they realize the precision that they can get in the piece that they've made, most students end up loving paper piecing. I hope you really enjoy this, and I'd love to see some of your paper piece projects. Thanks for watching our video. Be sure you subscribe to our channel. We wouldn't want you to miss a single one. Leave a comment. We would love to hear from you.